Okay, I'm going to do a reply here to Mike the MGTOW Monk's video here. The man says a lot of good stuff here. He tells the truth here. Okay, he's not feeding anybody any bullshit. Okay, but this is the same stuff that we've been seeing for years now. This is symptoms. And even though he's telling the truth here and showing a lot of good stuff, you got to remember this is still symptoms. Okay, so that's the reason I wanted to do this video, to touch the situation here. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and play his video. I'm not going to edit anything out of his video. That's the reason you don't see that I've recorded or downloaded his video. Okay, I've on his page, I've at his video. Okay, there's no editing or anything of this man's video that he's done in reply to this female whatsoever. Okay, so we're going to listen to him, then I'll pause and I'll inject what I need to say as we go. Okay.
So in this video, I want to show you this this bitch that has clearly hit the wall, right? She is well up there in age. She's probably paid for a facelift and...
First, unfortunately, hit the wall. No, she hasn't hit the wall. See, females don't hit the wall. The only wall they hit is when their eggs are dried up and they go through the time of life that they can no longer produce kids. That's the only wall a female will ever hit. As far as being able to get men in her life, there is no wall. You seem to forget that there's lots of men her own age and older than her out there that wind up being single, wind up going through the BS, that everything that we know, that would still be willing to be with her. Okay, so there is no wall in that aspect, okay? But we'll go on.
many different cycles of Botox and, all kinds of things. Her eyelids have been lifted, and just no telling, how much money her ex-husband has had to spend on her over the years. But, all you have to do in this day and age is say, oh, he abused me, oh, he hit me. There's plenty of videos of women hitting themselves in the face, when there's hidden cameras around, and then calling the cops saying that they were abused or that the man tried to rape them. But when the hidden camera reveals that the woman, was just sitting there hitting herself, they just get slaps on the wrist whenever they get caught, pretending like the man's hitting them or abusing them. When there's...
He's correct. They get slaps on the wrist.
Proof that proves that these women are trying to set up men for false rape claims and false abuse claims. They just get a slap on the wrist.
Why wouldn't they, would be the question you should ask yourself. Why wouldn't they try to set up men? You're going to say that's downright evil. That's wrong. Well, but you have to really think about what's going on in society that's led to this behavior. Remember, just like when I talked with Steve Hoka, we talk about root cause. Root cause. Looking for where the problem come from, what's causing what's going on, not symptoms.
But if the courts find the man guilty, if there's no proof that the man's innocent, because when you're a man, you're guilty until proven innocent in these type of cases. When a man gets, doesn't have any evidence to prove his innocence, he gets run through the system and shit out. And, in divorce court, it's definitely like that. And if you're a wealthy man, your wealth and status, it doesn't mean anything. We always want to say that if you have, a certain amount of fuck you money that you could get married, and that it won't really affect you in the divorce because you've got fuck you money. But I'm here just to tell you guys that that's not necessarily the case. You can have money, but you're still going to owe these bitches, in most cases, you're going to owe these bitches large sums of money, especially if you are wealthy. And the reason why I say this is, if you're just some schmuck on the street,
he would be correct about that. Okay, so even though it's not 100% across the board for wealthy people could buy their way out, just go look at Hulk Hogan. Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan. Look what happened to him. Pay attention, because there's a lot more people just like Hulk Hogan that are wealthy, famous, have stats, everything going for them, that have been raked through the system when it comes to what he's talking about. So he is very correct about this.
Average Joe, and a bitch divorces you, she may not be able to, may not even think to get the alimony. Maybe you'll get lucky. Maybe you'll get lucky in a divorce and not have to pay alimony if you're just an average guy, blue collar guy. But if you're wealthy, dude, these women get into those marriages with you wealthy ass men, just because they know if it fails, if they just stick with you long enough, if it fails, they'll, take all the money and shit that they can.
That's correct. And some of these women, of course, not all of them, some of these women get into these marriages with wealthy men with the entire intentions of taking them to the cleaners and stripping them of everything they have from the very get-go. Okay, of course, that's not across the board 100%, but some of these women do that.
And then they'll move on to another guy while you still have to pay them, years and years later. But look at this bitch. She slammed into the wall, and she used fake beauty, cosmetics and, with cosmetics and all this surgery, cosmetic surgery and makeup and all this stuff. Okay, she's hiding the fact that she's wrinkly. Look at her neck. It's still nasty. I'm sure she had a lift there too. But you know what? This bitch has no soul. All she cares about is herself. She's just one of those, this is what happens, guys, when you get those gold diggers. This is what they look like in about 20 to 30 years later. Okay? Do not marry a gold digger.
Okay, so now I'm going to interject. First off, what he's talking about, oh, look at the nasty wrinkles on her neck. Because she can't hide them because she's getting old. She's getting older. Okay? Society, social engineering. Everything we've seen our whole lives. Everything I've watched my whole life. Everything that Mike the MGTOW Monks watched his whole life. Okay? You need to understand first off social engineering. What's really going on and why this is going on and why this is happening. Part of it is right here in your face. He's actually telling you without even knowing he is. See the emphasis he puts into look at the wrinkles on her neck that's still nasty? This is social engineering. It's not his fault. I'm not blaming Mike the MGTOW Monk, okay, for what he's saying. He's saying what he perceives based on what everybody's been saying that, well, came from social engineering. It's brainwashing. It's programming. So you have to go back and ditch the programming, and you have to understand reality. Reality. Reality is beauty, even with no cosmetic, no surgeries, even from a girl that's 20 years old, 19 years old, 22 years old, doesn't matter, okay? Just does not matter, okay? It's artificial to begin with, okay? Nobody, but nobody, doesn't matter what your gender is, keeps their looks. Looks is as artificial as it comes. When your whole perception comes into looks, okay, which unfortunately a lot of men are going to go by, and so are women. Where did that come from? That came from social engineering. That came from your fashion industry, your modeling industry, what they put on your TV set in front of you, because they made sure they picked out the so-called quote-unquote what they have dressed up to be the good-looking people. And so this is what you've seen your whole life. What do you think you got cheerleaders and models for? That's right. Where does the perception of what you call beauty come from? When you was a little kid, you didn't recognize looks as a little kid. You didn't care about somebody's looks as a little kid. Overall, that wasn't ever an issue as a little kid, okay? That only happened as you grew up, as you got a little older of a kid. Do you follow what I'm saying? And where did that come from? That came from everything and everybody around you, what you've seen in books, magazines, on your television set, what other people say, It's all social engineering. But everybody forgot is true beauty comes from within. Within, not the cover. The cover is the beauty, the looks. That's all that is. That's a cover. It's like a cover on a book. Doesn't tell you what's inside the book, does it? No, it doesn't. See, true beauty comes from within. And why do I say that? Because that's where true beauty's at. It's from within. The personality, how you treat others, how you do unto others. That's right. The character, the person you become. And unfortunately, that's been corrupted through social engineering just as well. Let's just think about, why would women do this stuff that MGTOW Monk is talking about? Mike the MGTOW Monk is saying truth here. He's not lying to you. He's telling you the truth. Straight up across the board. He's not bullshitting nobody right here. He's being honest. He's telling the truth and he's calling it as he sees it. Okay? Where would this come from? Why would women do this? Because we created these monsters. We sure did. Our society did. What do you think happens when you pamper, place on pedestal, pamper, place on pedestal? Think about gender roles. What do gender roles tell everybody? Well, the man's responsible for what? Being the provider. That's the main one. Provider, protector. Excuse the protector. Just throw that one to the side and pay attention to the main word. Provider. Okay? Which means, according to gender roles, which is social engineering, man created, that's right, you owe, based on your gender, you owe her wants, her living, her everything. Why? Well, because you was born with a penis between your legs, according to gender roles, according to brainwashing, according to a man-made thing. Okay? Let me go on here.
If you're a purple pill and you've got all this fuck you money, don't cohabitate with them and don't marry them. Don't be stupid. And even then, like I said, they can make fake rape and fake abuse, accusations against you, and you'll automatically be destroyed. Your status, your high status, will come crumbling down around you. But listen to what this bitch has to say.
Everyone, this video is for anyone out there who is a...
Oh, and before I start, just notice how it's called emergency spousal support. This is how she's going to word, alimony. Emergency spousal support. Under the guidelines of, oh, I'm a victim. Oh, give me, I'm going to take everything I can from this man. Da-da-da-da-da. She's a fucking bitch.
Afraid to leave their partner, their abusive partner, because you have no money.
And also, women, when you just disagree with a woman, they consider that abuse. Every time you've ever disagreed with a woman in a relationship, think back. They always took it as abuse, simply because you disagreed. So when a woman's talking about, oh, my ex was abusive, they think everything we do is abusive. It's disgusting.
Well, let me tell you.
Let me tell you before we go any further, why they would think everything's abuse. What did we do from the time they was a child? Come on, what have we done since the time they was a child? We placed them above ourselves. I mean, come on, even when she was a little dinky girl going to school, you taught everybody, all these little kids in class, that boys don't hit girls. And lots of parents at home have enforced that. So the sister could do anything she wanted onto the brother. And if the brother struck back, the brother was disciplined. He was corrected. He was told, it don't matter what she does. You do not have a right to put your hands on her. But she could put her hands on you all she wanted, didn't she? That's right. See, this all started then, guys. This is when it started. So why would she not act the way she's acting now? Come on, seriously, why would she not? We're in a world where we've lost care. Most people out here don't have the ability to care for somebody they don't even know. That's women and men alike. Okay? Cremation of care is quite real. The majority of our society only cares about what? Number one. Look out for number one, themselves. So now roll that mentality into pampering, placing on pedestal, putting above yourself, okay? Man-made rules, laws. NWO, as much as you may hate me saying that, is 100% responsible for this. Social engineering through NWO. Divide and conquer. Divide and conquer. Understanding human nature. That's right. What did you expect these women to grow up to act like? How could you expect this to be any different? Seriously.
What I think almost every county does, you need to talk to the clerk of the court. If you can't get anywhere with the clerk of the court, just talk to anybody at the courthouse, because somebody there will be able to direct you to what you need to do. I made about 3 phone calls and I found out that you can ask the court for emergency support. It's like alimony. You put down what you need to survive, taking into account your medical, your car maintenance, and money to maybe put a deposit down on another place to live. I actually asked the court for $4,000 a month.
$4,000 a month. $4,000 a month. This is ridiculous, guys.
For the average guy, $4,000 a month would be basically everything they worked for. For a lot of guys, they wouldn't even make that much in a month. That's right. For a lot of guys, they wouldn't even make that much in a month. They might make half of that. A little over half of that. So what she asked for is every last penny the average man would make in a month plus. That's what she just asked for. So she wants him to go to work 8 hours a day, even at $15 an hour, overtime, breaking his butt to turn his check over to her. And he can live in a cardboard box and eat a homeless shelter. That's what she's saying.
And they put this under the guidelines of, oh, well, we just want to give them the life that they were accustomed to. Well, bitch, I'm sorry, but if you want...
No. See, she's owed it. You know that. Social engineering. Placing her on a pedestal. That's right. Placing her above yourself. Gender roles. Provider. Her whole life from the time she was a little girl. This is what's caused this problem. Why would she not act this way? See, why would she not?
Want the life that you were accustomed to, stay in the fucking marriage, you stupid bitches. But you can't, because you're hypergamous.
Well, no, it's greed. Because even hypergamous, greed. Because the reality is she can use a criminal court system who she's married to, 3-party contract, rape this wealthy man of his belongings, okay, move on to another guy, and do the same thing again. While she's still getting the money that she raped the other person and all the belongings she raped the other person for, she's busy. See, greed don't have an end. Power, greed, have no end. There's never enough, and there never will be enough. We have created this ourselves. We, through social engineering and the way we do one another, and because we fall into the brainwashing of social engineering for divide and conquer, why do you think all these problems are happening? What is it doing? It is dividing us. just like the powers to be want. That's right. And what is MGTOW Mike talking about? Symptoms. Symptoms. This is what MRA did for years. This is all symptoms. This is what he's talking about. You don't hear MGTOW Monk here talking about where and why this is going on. Where it come from.
And instead of just parting ways like, like an equal human being would, if you were equal, you would just part ways.
But you've never been equal. I promote and push for women and men both to be equal. But most of the time when I do this, you have some clown that comes up here and they like their divisions so much that they don't want us to be equal. Or they're after their own selfish gain. They don't want us to be equal. When I say equal, I'm talking about laws and rights. Nothing more. That all rules and rights that women have, men should have. It should be equal across the board. But if I say equal, most idiots will want to come up and say, well, then we'd all be living in the same house, and we'd all be wearing the same clothes, and we'd all be acting the same, and blah, blah, blah. And they throw all this shit in there that I never said. They said. That's right. They project what they say and try to say that that's what I'm saying when it's not what I said. It's what they're saying. That's called division. That's the same thing as having a devil's advocate to smear the truth.
If you really believe that you as a woman was equal to a man, you would simply part ways, but some of you cannot. Because you know you will never reach his level of success.
See, level of success, once again, the monetary thing. Once again, social engineering. Yes, we have to have money to live because this is the system we've grown up into. Okay? Slaves. Wage slaves. And then we all think it's a game, a sport, just like in the dating arena. It's a game. Who could do better than who? That's right. Who has more success than who? And then we let our ego jump in there, which is the same thing as power and greed. That's right. And that boosts us to another level, right? We start looking down on other people. When we're not better or above them, we look down on them and we act like we are. That's right. All based on what? Man-made BS. Social engineering in your face.
Because you're not equal. You don't have the same skill set. You don't have the same...
See, they don't have the same skill set. Do you hear everything he's saying here? Whether he realizes it or not, what he's preaching is social engineering. What he's preaching is brainwashing. It's not his fault. Will I blame this guy? No, I won't. How could I? It's not his fault. Okay, this is where people gotta really stretch, recognize right from wrong, open up their eyes to what's really going on in this world, and start looking for root causes to problems, and understanding what would cause this type of behavior. Why would we be acting the way we are? This is really a tough topic for so many people to understand.
Credentials. You sat on your ass and relied on your beauty, to get by in life. And now you're...
She relied on her what? Her beauty, social engineering. Modeling industry, the fashion industry, the cheerleaders, that's right. Everything that's been put in our face, that's right. And social engineering gender roles. Why would she not? See, the question is, why would she not act this way? You're blaming her for acting a way that we created. We created her. We sure did. Oh, yeah, we did. We 100% created her. I mean, you build Frankenstein and then you complain about your outcome.
Beauty has faded. You probably can't get over on the man as much as you could have whenever you were young and youthful.
See, social engineering. The looks have faded. I invite you all to go to a nursing home. Get to know the residents. Females, and males. And why don't you go through their family album And look at them when they were in their 20s. Now look at them. Sitting in the wheelchair in the nursing home. What do they look like? See, that's your fate too. That's MGTOW Monk's fate. That's this woman's fate. That's all of our fate. See, true beauty is from the inside. It's not from the outside cover. But you've been skewed. You've been lied to. You've been brainwashed. Everything's been put in an order that would destroy. To destroy, to divide and conquer. To break morals down. To divide and conquer. What he's preaching is brainwashing and symptoms. Brainwashing and symptoms. None of it being his fault.
Because he sees right through it now. Because you're aging. You've done hit menopause. Your eggs have dried up. So you don't have that extra pull over men anymore. And this is what...
See, there's social engineering, everything you just said.
What happens, ladies, you know, by the time you hit middle age, you get confused. You think that, oh, my man's an asshole because he doesn't treat me like he used to. I'm sorry, ladies, but when your fertility dries up and your beauty starts to fade, like men, we don't give that extra simping to you like we used to. It's not because we're assholes. It's called biology.
No, it's called social engineering. Biology is another tool used to convince you of wrongdoings. That's right. Biology was used as a tool to convince you, to change your mindset, to convince you and change your mindset of something that's actually not true. Something that's going to also, well, escalate. More division. More divide and conquer. That's going to keep you from being able to see through to the real truth. So once again, I challenge you to go to any town, any city, anywhere in this world, walk into a nursing home. Okay? And look at these people's pictures of when they were younger. I challenge you to throw the programming out the window and recognize reality and recognize right from wrong and recognize behaviors and where these behaviors come from, and then look around you at society and what everybody's been taught and showed and pushed.
You're not useful anymore in the biological chain. You've dried up. So instead of, nagging us and telling us what to do and bossing us around and getting over on us and getting away with your extra exertions of, emotional rants, you don't get away with none of that shit anymore. You actually have to adapt a personality. You have to really respect your man and let him lead instead of playing mind games and manipulating him. Because eventually men, we catch on to that shit.
See, and the phony flaunt that I saw in that whole speech was to let him lead. To let him lead. It's the same thing as letting her lead. You know what he's really saying? Bow down, slave. You know you're lower than me. I'm above you. You're a slave. Because you're a female. It's no different when the female says, I wear the pants in the family. You know the old saying, who wears the pants in the family? Okay? So the other partner's a slave. And then you say, no, that's not what I mean by it, but that's clearly what you mean by it. And you don't even know that's what you mean by it. Because I don't know anybody, man or woman alive, that wants to be told what they can and can't do. How to feel, how to think, and what to act like. Control freaks. Social engineering. Divide and conquer. Right in your face.
Even the married men, eventually, even if you're blind, eventually you will catch on to all of the bullshit that you were blind to before, at the beginning of your marriage. And perhaps, you did see it early on, but eventually it gets old. It gets old after a while as a man. And what do these bitches do when you stand up to them, or whenever their games don't work? They try to divorce you and blame you and say that you're a dick. And they set up these arguments. They stage the end of the relationships, these relationships, by nagging you, getting you to explode, getting you to lash out, by getting under your skin. That's how they manipulate you and make you blow up. And then when you snap, everything that happens after that, oh, I'm a victim, I'm a woman, oh, this mean guy, time to.
Everything he said is correct. He didn't lie to you again. Everything he just said right there, MGTOW Mike said right there, is correct. He's telling you the truth, but he's telling you symptoms and social engineering. I don't even think he knows he is. Okay? See, that's because we don't look for root causes. We whine and complain about the symptoms. How they're acting. What are they doing? Look what they're doing to us. See? And you're not understanding where this comes from. So I'm going to say it again. Why would she not? Why would she not? Why would she not act this way? In a world where you look out for number one. In a world where, okay, status and success. Okay? Success. Monetary. That's right. The tool. Social engineering all the way. And why would she not act this way? I mean, really, come on. You all placed women up on a pedestal. They didn't do it. All of you simps did. Okay? You pampered them. You told them we owed them. That's right. That us men, we owe them. Their whole life. How would they not think any different?
Time to take this and go to the court and take $4,000 fucking dollars. And, and that wasn't enough, guys. It wasn't enough. She had to go on YouTube and upload a video explaining how to do it. After she already got her facelifts, she probably has, breast implants, all of this stuff on her face. Because I'm telling you guys, if some of these ladies like to pretend like they just have this natural, beauty for their age. I'm not saying she's beautiful, but for her age, she doesn't look bad. But I know it's fake. I know it's disgustingly fake, and I know who paid for it. Because if she can't afford the life that she's accustomed to, guess who paid for all of that?
But that's still a big waste of money. First off, she can get all the facelifts she wants. Age is still going to catch up to her, and the facelifts won't do any good anymore. That's right. And she's just going to use that tool, them looks, from social engineering, modeling industry, the fashion industry, everything that we've been brainwashed to, as a tool, as a weapon, against you people who have placed her on that pedestal to begin with. Her whole life. What for? Well, for status and success. Success. Monetary gain. She's looking out for number one. That's right. And you owe her. You know you owe her. You have a penis between your legs. That automatically, by default, you owe her. Greed don't have no end. Never has. Understanding the root causes to her behavior. Why this is going on. Yeah, the one thing that you don't hear people talking about, you keep ditching it. You can ditch the root cause all you want. And the problem will go on forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And you will never, ever, ever, ever defeat it, stop it, or change it. If you want to defeat it, stop it, and change it, then you got to recognize what's happened to all of us. Every last man and woman on this planet. Where these problems come from, why she acts this way. Because as I've said all along, why would she not? That is the question you should be asking yourself. Why would she not?
It was her ex-husband, the one that she ran through the divorce court, the one that she stayed with for probably 30 years, and then fucking said one day, I'm done. I'm going to start arguing with him. I'm going to start nagging him. And then she destroyed his ass. There's a lot of good men out there right now that run across MGTOW channels and say that we're crazy, that say that we are insane.
You know why they say you're crazy and insane, or call you a woman hater, or tell you you have mental issues? Because they're enablers. They're victims of the same brainwashing that all of us are. But see, their mentality is to stay fitting in, to think with the all-hide mind in the jar, to fit in, to fit in. So afraid they may not get to put their dick in a hole. You know, you might scare all the women off. You'll run all the corruption off. How could you want to run all the corruption off? Why would you want to run the corruption off? You must be a woman hater. You must be mentally ill. How dare you speak the truth? Social engineering. All these simps and men's that he just said about, that he just talked about right there, a lot of good men who call him these names and say this, they're programmed like the rest of us. Okay? And they're just parroting what everybody else is parroting to fit in. To fit in. And they're keeping the division alive. They're keeping us divided. Because this is why women stand together stronger than men ever will. Because men are so mind dead because they're not looking for the root cause. See, just like I've said over and over recently, and I've been trying to tell you, I've said this all along. The theory, men going their own way, was an awesome theory because it's actually a tool that would have worked to overturn the programming from NWO, to bring the genders back together. But it would have only worked if we really took it seriously and did exactly what it was, going their own way. But men ain't doing that. No, you can't say you are because you're not. And one of the reasons it's on mainstream media and been pushed is because the people behind this, the social engineering, the powers to be, they recognized that if men really went their own way, right, they really did it, okay, that would be the one thing that could overturn all the years of brainwashing and social engineering they put in it to destroy the family unit and divide the genders. It could literally wake people up and cause the men and women to come back together again. They couldn't have that. And no circumstance could they allow that to happen. There's only one reason it went to mainstream media. Just like anything else in the manosphere. If it ends up on mainstream media, it's because there's an agenda to destroy it. To destroy it. To keep the same behaviors going. So the divide and conquer and the fighting stays going. They can't allow us to stand together and come back together. They get their power from us listening to them. They get their powers from keeping you buffaloed, the blanket over your face, convincing you of bullshit. Okay, social engineering all the way, guys.
That, they'll say things like, I've been in a marriage for 10, 15 years. Here, let me slow clap for that guy. Congratulations, fella. 10 to 15 years from now, you might be this fucking woman's, this woman's ex-husband. When you put 30 years in, and she takes $4,000 a month, claiming victimhood status, and then, like I said, coming onto YouTube, calling it emergency spousal support, and then telling other women how to do it. I'm sorry, guys, but I don't buy it. I don't buy that she's a victim. I just don't. She has bitch written all over her face.
She has social engineering written all over her face. Okay? See, he's not understanding the root cause to why. That's why I said, why would she not? See, the real question should be, why would she not do this? It's sad to see what's going on and to understand where this come from and so clearly see it and know it. And know the cure, the correction that wouldn't happen overnight, but there's only one way to stop and correct this. There really is. There's only one way. And if you don't start looking for root causes and understanding why she's acting this way, You will never, ever, ever, don't matter how much you speak out, you can push all the symptoms you want. You've already lost. You know, if Steve Holka walked in and tried to repair a furnace or an air conditioner and he went by the symptoms only and didn't look for the root cause, he would never be able to repair it. If I went out and diagnosed a car to why it's not starting, and I only go with the symptom, I'm going to fraudulently repair it and cost you a whole lot of money you didn't have to spend by replacing the wrong parts. Okay, so it's no different here. It's no different here, guys. You have to understand where this come from. So the real question should be, why would she not act this way? Why would she not do this? That should be the real question. Because when you're going to say, what do we mean? Why was that's wrong? It's corrupt. It's evil. No, we created her. We are responsible for her behavior. Her behavior is a product of what we have created. As we create our own Frankensteins, okay? Whoever said Frankenstein had to be a male? Frankenstein could be either gender. Okay? You know, I've left a couple comments from MGTOW Mike. The guy means well. He does say a lot of truth. He actually means well. I can see that. I never knew who this guy really was until talking to Steve Holken, and I went and looked. Okay, and I've watched some of his stuff now. And you know, we all have our own different opinions, but I'm going to tell you right now, educating yourself to NWO and understanding the social engineering of our society and what's really going on, why we're acting the way we are and what's going on, will answer why she's acting the way she is for you. And then you'll realize what has to be done to correct it. And if we do not start working together and stop the infighting amongst the manosphere and understanding the real truth, the root cause, you will always get absolutely nowhere. Nowhere. Okay, so now I've left a couple comments for this man. I'd like to have him on live. I'd like to go do a live stream with him. I wouldn't care if it was his channel or my channel. It doesn't matter. I would like to talk to him and do a live stream with him. So far, I've had no comments back from him. So now I'm going to say it in this video. If I hear nothing from this man at all, then it'll be this man deliberately blowing me off. Okay? There will be no ifs, ands about it. It'll be him blowing me off. Okay? If he don't blow me off, then we'll talk. It's not about slamming this guy at all. I don't dislike. How do you dislike somebody you don't know? You don't. You can have a difference in opinions, but you also have to understand you can agree to disagree, but you really have to back up and start looking for yourself. I cannot do your homework for you. You have to do that for yourself. If you truly start looking for yourself, you're going to see and you're going to not knowledge yourself, school yourself to the truth of what's really going on in our world. Why this type of stuff's going on. Why does she act this way? And once you really see that, you won't be making the cracks that this man's making towards her. He has a right to be angry towards her behavior. I'm not against MGTOW Monk at all for exposing her and showing her behavior. Okay? Because she is totally corrupt. But you have to understand why she's corrupt. Where this behavior come from. And why is she acting this way? You need to know the root cause. Then you have to really start addressing these issues by the root cause. Because we can only address these issues through the root cause if we're ever going to make a change. And we can never do that if we're going to continue to fight one another. If MGTOW Monk's going to say, well, I don't associate with TFLers, well, then he's fitting right into social engineering. And he's already lost. I don't know why he didn't get a gun out and shoot himself in the foot. Because that's what he does the minute he does that. See, the common denominator between TFL, men going their own way, men's rights activists, incel, is we're all complaining about the same damn things. And then we're having our infighting with each other, making women like her smarter than you. Because women like her will stand together, while you idiot guys that are calling her out will be fighting one another, allowing the problem to continue. So the question mark is do you ever want to get anywhere in this battle? Do you really? If the answer to that is of course you do, and you know you're going to, no, you're not going to. Unless you start looking for root causes. Okay? And that's as simple as it goes, and there's no more than I can say about this, and I'm not going to say anymore. I understand why she's doing what she's doing. I'm not agreeing with what she's doing whatsoever, but I understand why she's doing it. To say she's not a victim would be a wrong statement because she is a victim. She sure the hell is. Okay? She is a victim. Just like MGTOW Monk. Mike the MGTOW Monk here. He's a victim as well. See, you've got to really truly understand what's going on in order to ever solve the problem. Root causes, not symptoms, guys. So, one last time, MGTOW Monk, I would like to have on a live cast. Okay? I would like to talk to. And I would like to do a live stream with him. I really would. And I think there's a lot that can come from if we can pull ourselves together. If we can really stop the infighting amongst the manosphere. And we can pull ourselves together. We could actually make some ground. But we're never going to make any ground if we stay the way we're going. With that being said, I'm going to get on out of here. And you have a good one.